This Saturday morning, I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, contradictory rulings on the future of abortion. How cases in Texas and Washington could impact a drug people have had access to for decades. Plus, a heads up for Max riders, the weeks-long disruptions that will make some trips at least twice as long for you. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Daisy Caballero, who's in for Chris this morning on a fine Saturday morning. Hello.
Hello, Tim. And yes, good morning to all of our viewers. So super happy to be here. I was just telling Tim, it's been a while since I filled in for Chris on the weekends. Now, all right, let's talk about weather now. 47 degrees. Those winds are fairly calm coming out from the east at 9 miles an hour. A pretty cloudy day, and that's what's going to be on tap for many of us for our Saturday. Maybe some light showers as we're looking mainly along the coastline. Not expecting to see really any of that along the I-5 corridor. Checking out our current temperatures right now, 46 for Vancouver, 47 Hillsborough, 44 down in Tigard. Looking down south just a little bit, looking at 46 in Salem, 43 in Kaiser, and then 45 degrees for McMinnville. So what's on tap for us today? We'll take a look at this. Expecting 51 degrees by noon. Again, a slight chance for some passing showers along the I-5 corridor right around noon to around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we warm up a little bit as we're looking at the second half of our day, 55 for 5 o'clock. But we'll talk more about that seven-day forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Daisy. We are tracking the impact of two separate rulings in relation to an abortion pill. First up, a Texas judge's ruling halted the FDA's approval of mifepristone. And then in Washington, another federal judge issued a separate ruling ordering the FDA to make no changes when it comes to the drug's availability. Catherine Cook talked to legal experts and the Washington AG's office about what this all will mean.
We're relieved and happy that access to this medication will continue to be protected here.
The Washington AG's office staying optimistic Friday regarding access to abortion pill mifepristone. This as conflicting court cases in Washington and Texas stand poised to decide whether that pill stays legal. First, Texas. On Friday, U.S. Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk suspended the Food and Drug Administration's approval of the abortion pill nationwide. He delayed the ruling from taking effect for a week to give the Biden administration time to appeal. Also Friday, in Washington, U.S. District Court Judge Thomas Rice ruled the FDA should not lift approval of the abortion drug, which has been available for more than 20 years. But that ruling only affects 17 plaintiff states and Washington, D.C. Oregon is among those states.
Our order is the only one that's in place right now. The other order doesn't go into effect until at least 7 days from now, and we'll need to closely watch that case to see what the further developments are. But as we sit here tonight, we have a clear order that's in place from our court saying access is protected.
The Washington case, for the moment, is mostly about preserving the status quo.
David Schraub is an assistant professor at Lewis and Clark Law School and has been watching the cases unfold.
From the FDA's vantage points, they kind of are in a bit of a pickle that they can't really comply with both, which is a sort of situation where oftentimes then the U.S. Supreme Court kind of has to step in.
Schraub notes it may pose an interesting situation for the High Court, which holds a conservative supermajority. Remember last year's landmark case, Dobbs versus Jackson, when the court overruled Roe v. Wade, giving individual states the power to regulate abortion.
We'll see whether or not whether that was just lip service to kind of attempt to politically take the sting off of the Dobbs decision, or whether they view this as enforceable. Not just leave it to the states, but a nationwide comprehensive ban on all forms of abortion everywhere. That certainly is the tenor of the Texas decision.
Well, in a series of tweets last night, President Biden said his administration will fight the Texas ruling. Also worth noting this week, Governor Jay Inslee announced Washington is stockpiling the abortion drug and just bought a 3-year supply.
Husband and I are finding ourselves having conversations about what we would do if I were charged with a felony.
Well, some Idaho doctors are considering leaving the state altogether because of one of the nation's most restrictive abortion bans. Idaho only has exceptions for rape, incest, or preventing the mother's death. This week, lawmakers in Idaho also became the first in the nation to criminalize helping a minor seek an abortion out of state without parental consent. Well, switching gears now, and this is a frightening story out of Northeast Hillsboro. The man in this video is suspected of breaking into multiple homes, wearing an alien mask and carrying a crowbar. The video was recorded by an apartment Ring doorbell camera at the Commons at Hawthorne Village. Sarah Alvarez tells us she and her family came home late Tuesday to find their windows open and $30,000 worth of professional camera equipment gone. Alvarez says police told her they believe the masked man is behind her break-in and at least a few others.
We just want it to end because it's not just the material possessions we lost, it's our sense of security. I haven't been able to sleep almost anything since Tuesday night.
Well, Hillsboro police declined to release additional details, citing an active investigation. Alvarez has launched a GoFundMe to help replace some of what was stolen. We have more information about that for you at KGW.com. Well, we now know the names of the people who died in a shooting in the Woodlawn neighborhood this past week. Police have identified them as 27-year-old Deja Willingham and 30-year-old Marcel Bryant. You see pictures of them there. They were found shot to death along Northeast Lombard Wednesday night. Authorities have not made any arrests in that case. Albany police are looking for help finding a missing 13-year-old Tristan Charles Wade. You see him there, was last seen on Wednesday leaving a friend's house, his mother says. He's believed to be with the woman in this photo, 24-year-old Alyssa Thomas. This photo of Thomas and the teen is from social media. Police say they have reports of the pair in the Portland area, apparently trying to leave the state. Anyone with information is asked to call Albany police. Well, nurses at the Legacy Mount Hood Medical Center in Gresham have voted to unionize. Thursday, a supermajority of nurses voted to join the Oregon Nurses Association, which represents hospitals and clinics statewide. This comes after Legacy closed its birthing center in Gresham in March, even though it did not have approval to do so from the state. That resulted in the Oregon Health Authority denying Legacy's request to close the center. Now, we don't know the next steps in that process or if the birthing center will reopen. But with this decision to unionize, nurses at the Mount Hood Medical Center will now be represented by ONA in their negotiations with Legacy. Well, we're hearing more now from TriMet after learning about a weeks-long disruption to significant parts of the system. Starting a week from tomorrow, all trains between the Northeast 7th MAX station and Gateway Transit Center will be replaced by shuttle buses. That's the dotted line area in the middle of the map here, impacting the blue, green, and red lines. And here's exactly how much extra time TriMet says you'll need.
On either the blue, green, or red from Northeast 7th Avenue or from the Gateway Transit Center to Northeast 7th Avenue. It takes about 13 minutes. Using a shuttle bus, it's about 30 minutes. And we want to make sure that people make their connections as well. So planning an extra 30 minutes will help them do that.
And that's not for a day or even a week, but for 3 weeks, again, from April 16th through May 6th. This is all to make safety improvements along the tracks. MAX orange and yellow lines will not be affected. Okay, still to come on Sunrise, it's the tale of how Nike courted Michael Jordan and launched what's arguably the most famous sneaker in history. We talked to the former Nike executive at the center of it to see what he thinks about getting his story on the big screen. And did you know you can watch Sunrise anytime you want on KGW Plus? All of our news is on Roku and Amazon Fire as well. Just look for KGW, add us to your home screen, and you can stream Sunrise live or record it on your schedule anytime you want.